Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most baffling and honestly chilling unsolved mysteries in the world of modern espionage. So, it all starts with this, a locked duffel bag. Seems ordinary, right? But this bag is at the very center of what feels like an impossible crime.
And at the heart of it all, a top-secret codebreaker. This guy's entire job was to unravel the world's most guarded secrets.
But ironically, the biggest puzzle he ever left behind was the riddle of his own impossible death.
All right, let's get right into it. The spy in the bag. Okay, so picture this. It's August 23rd, 2010. A 31-year-old man misses a meeting, which is unusual for him, so the police are called to his London flat. And what they find? Well, it's just bizarre. His body is inside a red sports bag, zipped up, padlocked, and sitting right in his bathtub. Now, to really get why this case is so huge, you have to understand who this man was. This is absolutely key. See, the victim, Gareth Williams, wasn't just some random guy. He was a genius mathematician, a codebreaker for GCHQ, who was on loan to MI6. We're talking about a guy working at the absolute peak of British intelligence.
And his rise was just meteoric. He joins GCHQ, Britain's version of the NSA, when he's only 21. Then he gets seconded to MI6, the Foreign Intelligence Service. And his last job, well, it was incredibly high stakes. He was cracking terrorist codes and, get this, tracking Russian money laundering operations. That is a dangerous, dangerous world to be in.
Okay, so that brings us to the puzzle itself, the locked room paradox. Because the evidence, or lack thereof, turns this into something straight out of a detective novel. So here's the question that just hangs over everything. How could a 5'11" man lock himself inside a bag from the outside? It just doesn't make sense. And believe me, they tried to replicate it. Experts tried over and over, and they concluded there was no way a man of his size could have done it alone. And the scene itself is just a mess of contradictions. The bag is zipped and padlocked from the outside, but the key to that padlock? It's inside the bag with his body. The flat was scrubbed clean. No fingerprints, no foreign DNA, no sign of a struggle. The bathtub was bone dry. No drugs, no poison in his system. His phone was wiped, factory reset. And then there's this really strange detail. 15 grand worth of unworn women's designer clothes were found in his closet. What is that? A secret life? Or was it all planted to throw everyone off the scent? So, with all this conflicting evidence, you can imagine the speculation. It's really boiled down to three main theories. All right, let's break these down. First, you've got accidental death. The idea is maybe he was into escapology and it went horribly wrong. But how did he lock the bag from the outside? And why was the scene so clean? It doesn't add up. Then there's a Russian assassination. He was tracking money for Putin's inner circle. That's a huge motive. But again, how did assassins get in and out without leaving a single trace? Not even a speck of DNA. And finally, the really controversial one, an MI6 inside job. His own agency took a whole week to report him missing, which is just insane. But what's the motive? Why would they take that kind of risk? Each theory has these giant holes in it.
And even the forensics guys can't agree on what happened. Scotland Yard, in a recent 2024 review, doubled down. They found zero new DNA and basically concluded he must have been alone. But then you have independent experts, like a group from Italy, who suggest something else entirely. They think he might have been drugged with something that becomes untraceable, making him easy to place in the bag. So, who do you believe?
So here we are, years later, after all this investigation. Where does that leave us? It's still a complete, unsolved mystery.
Well, officially, you have two very different stories. Scotland Yard's official line is that the cause of death is unascertained. They think the most likely scenario is that he died alone, by accident, even if they can't explain how. But his family? They are having none of that. They firmly believe he was murdered, that it was an unlawful killing by persons unknown, and that the scene was cleaned up to look like an accident, a professional job.
Yeah, their statement is incredibly powerful. They said, "We are convinced that Gareth's death was an unlawful killing." They're basically saying they believe dark forces were at play and that the real truth has been covered up. So, what really happened in that London flat? That's the question we're left with, isn't it? The case of the spy in the bag is just this chilling enigma. A tragic accident? A perfectly executed assassination? Or something else we can't even imagine? The only thing we know for sure is that a man who spent his life decoding secrets took his own biggest secret with him to the grave.